Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Amber Duke.
And I'm Robby Soave. In the middle of the feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, JD Vance was on Theo Vance's podcast, where else would he be, talking about USAID and whether humanitarian aid actually make its way to the people who need it.
Was Doge helpful?
It was. Yeah, it was. And I mean, look, Doge continues within the White House and within the executive of the country. I mean, look, there's a lot of ways in which we are wasting the American people's money.
Yeah.
Sometimes spending it on crazy stuff. Sometimes spending it on like actually counterproductive stuff. I think Doge has saved already at least 170, maybe $200 billion. Hopefully it's going to save more. But yeah, I think it was very
so
worthwhile.
Much money. How
that's
could
a ton of money.
How do they not? How would you not even notice that? If that much money,
there's so much I could tell you about this. Okay, so one of the crazy things we all figured out like first week or so we're in the White House, okay, is there was a payment that should be stopped because the president signed an executive order to stop a payment. And this is like day one of the White House. We're like, okay, how do we stop this payment? Yeah. Because somebody's trying to make this payment and nobody knew where like the computer was that actually wired the money from the US taxpayer to this entity.
God.
So dude, the amount of waste and the amount of just grift in the federal government was off the charts. It's still, it's getting better, but there's still a lot more I think we can find.
So I know that number that gets cited there is a little bit in contention. I saw some discussion about it saying it depends how you characterize. It's not actually all related to overhead cost. It's whether a local charity gets it or a different organization. The overall point that there's much more going to overhead and misuse of funds is I think accurate. I'm not sure it's as dramatic as was actually presented in that statistic. I saw people like Tyler Cowen and Slate Star Codex having arguments about this. But you know, the fact is, I mean, we know this from what's going on in Gaza, where now we're getting the aid to the people in a manner the United Nations did not want, and the people are actually getting it, and they're surprised as they're getting it. They're like, wait, we don't have to give part of this to the local Hamas affiliate, which shows just how corrupt it was when the United Nations was running it, validating the fears of, well, this just ends up in Hamas's hands.
Yeah, and pretty much anywhere around the globe, there's usually some local charity that's skimming some off the top, and it happens in the US too, right? Like, we're not immune to that. If you look at a lot of private charities, there's specific websites that actually break down how much goes to administrative costs versus how much actually goes to needy people, so you can kind of shop around and like see which
I've seen
charity.
like liberals complain about this. The kind of what are those people called? The rational. What are the utilitarian? There's an ethical utilitarian. You know what I'm talking about? There's a group of people.
They sound
on this
like
issue.
freaks, though. No,
not people you would like, Amber.
Probably not.
But about how you can do the most good if you're going to give money charitably. It's like there's things like Give Directly or wherever that try to get around the bureaucracy of giving to a charity where they're skimming from it and how much is actually going to mosquito nets. Look, I think charity is a good thing. Yeah. It's good for people to be charitable. It's good for wealthy people to be charitable. But it's very easy to be charitable with other people's money, with the taxpayers' money, and then be imprecise about how it gets used. So it's not about
and to get rich in the process.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about not being generous. It's just, is this the role of the federal government? If it's the federal government, well, then it should be serving some national security purpose as well. And we are beginning to ask questions about what purpose all these things were serving. Probably some of the things USAID was doing I have no problem with. Some of the things I do have problems with. And that's fine, but it should just be, discussed and debated.
Yeah, and I think they're still doing a lot of the direct aid programs for starving children or whatever. But I mean, the thing that we were talking about last week as well was, are we just providing enough aid to keep people destitute, or are we trying to build self-sufficiency? Like, what's the end goal here? And what's the limiting principle for the American taxpayer? And related to this, I was talking about wells in Africa, coincidentally, and I just saw a news story today where people are trying to accuse Mr. Beast of being like a grifter because he built all these wells in Africa.
Oh my God.
And now they're not taking care of the wells. And the wells are just falling into disarray.
Oh my God.
But apparently it's Mr. Beast's fault. It's not like the locals who are supposed to take care of the wells. So I feel very vindicated about the wells.
Mr. Beast, who does more than the average human for trying to make people better off, and with his own money, not with taxpayer dollars, with money that he raises, and that It serves his own market interests as well, which is perfectly fine. You can find profitable ways to help people and enrich yourself, and that's fine as long as you're not taking other people's money, taking taxpayer dollars. Then I don't care. Then do whatever you want.
Remember when he first built the wells, they accused him of being racist or something because he was like the white savior.
Yes, I very specifically remember that. The things that like crazy left people get. He's one of those people that makes crazy left people mad for reasons that are just
he's a capitalist.
Utterly
I think
baffling.
that's why.
Yeah, he's just
because he makes money.
He deals with money whatsoever.
Right. Yeah,
so there's
exactly.
Everything involving
Evil
money
rich guy.
must itself be corrupt is like the very limiting view of some people.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to the USAID conversation, I do think, Vance giving that praise there was also like a little nod to Musk. They did talk about the situation.
It was happening while he was on.
Yeah, and they addressed it more directly. And he was like, look, he did a lot of good. Like, I think it's unfortunate, which is sort of like the line that all of the public administration officials are taking. But then to go into depth about all the stuff Doge found, it was sort of like a hat tip, like, thanks, dude, we appreciate you.
Yeah, Theo Von wanted to talk about it, and JD Vance was willing to talk about it, which was good. At the same time on Joe Rogan, as the news was coming out, Kash Patel was on with Joe Rogan. And I don't have any specific beef with Kash Patel, but I did not appreciate the extent to which he tried to totally dodge questions about this, particularly because Elon, this is breaking news, Elon had linked Trump to the Epstein list. This is like a #1 issue of Joe Rogan and his viewers, and Kash Patel is the head of the FBI and apparently the person dealing with this, and he kind of tried to do a no comment on it. That was ridiculous to me. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. You got if you don't want to talk about this, then don't go on the podcast.
No,
you can't. That's just ridiculous.
I don't think he did a very good job in that interview overall. I mean, it seemed like he was trying to do like the trust me bro kind of posture. And it's like, you've been calling for radical transparency for the past 8 years.
This is the friendliest audience and the friendliest for this topic and for your project, and you're just going to try to above my pay grade out of this way? No.
Also, where the hell are the Epstein files, man? I want to see them.
Right, we're forced to conclude that it's just been overhyped and there's not that much in it if they're not getting to this, right? Which is not a satisfying answer for anyone who's been hanging on to this story for years, but it's the people who said they were going to do something about the transparency here are the ones in charge, and they're kind of like, it's already out there.
And they said that they had at least some video proving that Epstein did in fact off himself. Like, okay, release it.
Yeah.
But show us the goods.
Well, didn't they say? But Kash and Dan Bongino have both said they think he absolutely did kill himself.
Well, that's the thing, and they cited a video that they saw.
Yeah.
Which I guess like they had some other video, even though the camera in the cell was down. I don't know. Whatever.
I'd like to see it.
I would like to see it.
Yeah. Thanks for watching Free Media. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our show. We'll have more for you right after this.